Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. Has the politics surrounding Pranab Mukherjee's selection as the UPA candidate for president embarrassed the Congress party? That's the key issue I shall pursue today with Congress General Secretary Digvijaya Singh. Mr. Digvijaya Singh, can you accept that the politics surrounding Pranab Mukherjee's nomination as the UPA candidate for the presidency has been embarrassing, perhaps even painful for your party?
Maybe momentarily, because we never expected that Mamta ji and Mulayam ji would throw up names arbitrarily. I think to that extent, yes, it was embarrassing. But after that, of course, it was handled very nicely by the Congress
Up to
president.
that point of time, could it have been handled better?
You see, with the kind of numbers, the Congress party didn't have the clear majority. So the Congress president had to go cautiously. She had to meet the allies. She had to discuss the names with the allies, and then had to come around a name which had the widest possible consensus.
But shouldn't that consultation have happened earlier? After all, by delaying the consultation or stretching it out for so long, you not only allowed feverish speculation, but you allowed an ally like Mamta to run away with the agenda.
In fact, how do you say she's run away with the agenda? She miscalculated. In fact, the consultation started much earlier than what they did last time. And I think she had widest consultation, and two names had cropped up to her, which she of course conveyed to Mamta, which I don't know.
Mamta or to Sonia?
No, Sonia. Sonia ji had widest consultation, and these two names had cropped up to her in widest consultation with all allies and other political parties.
I'll come in a moment's time to Mamta Banerjee's behavior, but you began by admitting that this was embarrassing, yet you're also saying to me at the same time things couldn't have been handled better. Isn't there a contradiction in that?
No. You see, it was handled as best as it could be, but who had expected that Mamta ji would come out with names of those persons who had not even conveyed their consent to contest?
I'll come to that in a moment's time, but are you really telling me that this couldn't have been handled better?
No.
It couldn't have been handled better?
It couldn't have been handled better.
What about comments that you should have announced your candidate earlier, that you shouldn't have prolonged the consultations for so long?
No. The problem is, when in consultation two names had come up, so therefore to decide on one single name, she had to consult as many parties as possible.
It couldn't have happened earlier?
No.
It couldn't have happened faster?
No.
All right, let's come to Mamta Banerjee's behavior. Did she breach Sonia Gandhi's trust when she publicly revealed the two names Sonia Gandhi had in mind, Pranab Mukherjee and Hamid Ansari, as your colleague Ambika Soni has said? Or do you accept what Mamta's MP Kunal Ghosh has said, that she informed Sonia Gandhi that she would go public and therefore she had Sonia Gandhi's permission to go public? Which do you believe?
Knowing what little of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, I don't think she would have told her to go public on this.
Would she have given permission for Mamta to go public?
I have my doubts.
So when Kunal Ghosh says that Mamta A informed Sonia she was going public and Sonia gave permission for that as well, you're saying Kunal Ghosh is wrong?
Well, if the statement had to come, it should have come from Mamta. Kunal Ghosh was not there when they met.
So he doesn't know what he's talking about?
Could be, yes.
So in other words, this was an embarrassing breach of trust by an ally.
Well, when you started, you said, was it embarrassing? Certainly it was embarrassing for us, because an ally, after discussing with the UPA chairperson, came out and said, we reject both these names, and came out with three names out of the, she pulled out these three names out of the hat, and as events have proved, she didn't have she and Mulayam Singh ji did not have the consent of any one of the three candidates.
Now let's come to that second instance. How do you explain to yourself Mamta Banerjee and Mulayam Singh Yadav getting together and announcing that they wanted one of Manmohan Singh, Somnath Chatterjee or Abdul Kalam as president? How do you explain this? Was it strategy? Was it conspiracy? What was it?
It fails me. In fact, such a seasoned and experienced political leadership has treated the whole thing in such a cavalier manner I have never expected.
Are you suggesting that this was a serious mistake made by the two of them?
To me, yes, it was a serious mistake.
Beyond that, was it also a moment of silliness and childishness on their part?
Well, I would say that it was not a very very considered and a very nice way of handling this.
It wasn't a mature thing to do.
It was not a mature thing to do at all.
It wasn't a step you expect experienced politicians to take.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they did this.
Let me put this to you. When that happened, the reaction of the press, the reaction of your own party, the reaction probably of the country was that this was not just embarrassing for Sonia Gandhi,
Exactly.
it publicly eroded her authority.
It was certainly very embarrassing, and I think the way post this incident, I think the Congress party and the UPA chairperson has handled the whole thing very nicely.
Except that at that moment, it was an erosion of Sonia Gandhi's authority as UPA chairman.
Well, you can say that, but the fact remains that we know Mamta and her behavior, we can't really sort of blame her for that.
You mean she's an erratic person and unpredictable?
She has been erratic in some way. Although let us also confess that she has been a great fighter all her life.
You know, not only was this an erosion of Sonia Gandhi's authority as president and chairman of the UPA, it was also a violation of the dignity of the Prime Minister. It was a clear sign that at least a sizable section of the UPA no longer wanted him as head of government.
Well, I think it was extremely immature and embarrassing, not only for the Congress president, but even to the Prime Minister and to Mr. Chatterjee. And of course, I didn't know, had they consulted Abdul Kalam Saab also.
Can you confirm that the Prime Minister was deeply personally upset by this?
I have not met him, but obviously, yes.
Obviously, yes. Any Prime Minister would be deeply upset by this.
Obviously, yes.
Now, Mamta Banerjee since then has gone one step further. She's publicly said on Friday night that the game is not over. Is that a threat?
Well, I think my appeal to Mamta ji is that she should be now, she should reconsider her decision. The magnanimity which Mr. Pranab Mukherjee has shown to reconsider her decision to get her support and calling her sister, and her own candidate, Mr. Abdul Kalam, has not really become a candidate. She should reconsider her decision.
Far from reconsidering her decision, not only is she threatening you by saying the game is not over, she's also saying, and she said it on her Facebook so the whole world can see it, that she stands by her nomination of Abdul Kalam. She says he is far and away the best person for the job.
Well, the person should be ready to contest also.
So is she making a second serious mistake?
I would say that it is something which she should avoid.
So it is a mistake.
To me, yes, it's a mistake.
And it is another act of political immaturity on her part.
Well, the way she has handled the whole the subject of presidential election, I think it doesn't show majority.
Mamta has clearly proved, not just in this instance, but repeatedly, that she is an awkward, prickly, difficult ally. Are you disappointed, disillusioned?
The decision is hers.
Absolutely. So you won't bend over backwards to rotate her.
Well, there's a limit to which we can bend to. You have seen in the last 1.5 years the way she has handled the whole. Although it goes to her credit that on some issues she has agreed on critical matters.
On very, very few issues. What you're saying to me is she has exhausted Congress's patience.
I won't say that. Congress has immense patience.
But you're also saying, even if you insist you have immense patience, that it's a very thin thread that keeps the alliance together at the moment.
But we are hoping this is a strong thread.
But thin threads can snap easily.
That's why I'm saying it's a strong thread.
But you're resigned to the fact that if she goes, you let her go.
Well, there are some eventualities which, if can't be avoided, have to be faced.
Let's now come to Mulayam Singh Yadav. It's quite clear, and he himself has revealed this to our sister channel IBN 7, that he saved the day when he had 2 secret meetings with Sonia Gandhi, one on the night of Wednesday, one on the night of Thursday. Where were these meetings held?
I'm quite unaware of this.
You have no knowledge of them at all?
Not at all.
You're the General Secretary of the party by reputation. You are very close to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. You're probably one of the critical decision makers, and you're seriously telling me you didn't know?
You are overestimating me.
Is it possible that no such secret meetings happened despite the fact Mulayam Singh Yadav himself is saying they did?
I wouldn't know because I really don't know that these meetings did take place.
You really didn't know?
I really didn't know.
You're not being evasive?
No, not with Karan Thapar.
Let me put this to you. Whether the secret meetings happened or not, what is a fact is that Mulayam Singh suddenly changed his mind. Having said that he wanted either Manmohan Singh, Somnath Chatterjee or Abdul Kalam, he decided he would endorse Pranab Mukherjee instead. What do you think changed his mind?
Mulayam Singh ji is a very pragmatic political person, and he saw the ground realities, and then of course when he saw the overwhelming support of the UP allies and outside, he agreed.
That sounds as if you're saying he realized there was a majority behind Pranab Mukherjee and he decided to be on the winning side.
Let us not forget that in the very beginning he has said he would rather prefer a political person than a bureaucrat.
Well, Dr. Manmohan Singh would have been a political person, Somnath Chatterjee would have been a political person, and he was the man who nominated Abdul Kalam in the first place. So how do you now explain the fact that he switched his mind to Pranab Mukherjee?
Well, I really don't know the events which led to this, but the fact remains that I'm told, he's come out in public also, that he had suggested Pranab Mukherjee's name about 2 weeks back.
To Sonia Gandhi?
I don't know to whom, but yes.
What you say that Mulayam Singh is a pragmatic person. Was there a deal? Was there a quid pro quo? Has Congress agreed to either a financial package for UP or steps to ease the disproportionate assets case he faces?
As far as financial package goes, if we had agreed to a financial package out of turn for West Bengal, probably Mamta ji would not have opposed Pranab Mukherjee.
In other words, if you had agreed to a financial package, you could have given it to Mamta. If you didn't give it to Mamta, you're saying to me, you wouldn't have given it to Mulayam either.
Exactly. How can it be given to one state?
In which case, was there some understanding on taking steps to ease the disproportionate assets case?
Well, that's not in the government's hand.
Oh, well, there are a lot of things in the government's hands when it comes to the CBI. You know that and I know that. Let's not go into that quarrel. Did the government, did Sonia Gandhi give any assurance to Mulayam about the disproportionate assets case?
I don't think she could have, because she does not interfere in such matters. I will tell you, Karan, there were 5 cases of BJP leaders in Madhya Pradesh being investigated by CBI, and in all 5 cases, the BJP leaders have been exonerated. And BJP leaders have gone on record to say that we admire the impartiality of the CBI.
In other words, you're saying to me that there was no sweetener, no quid pro quo. Mulayam changed his mind and decided to support Pranab because he recognized Pranab was the best candidate in the fray.
Yes.
You mean that?
Yes.
And you stand by that there was no quid pro quo?
No.
Let's take a break at that point. When I come back, I want to talk to you about the vice presidency. That's in a moment's time. See you after this. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with Congress General Secretary Digvijaya Singh. Mr. Digvijaya Singh, your party, the Congress party, has said that they would like Pranab Mukherjee to be unanimously elected President of India. In which case, what steps are you taking to ensure that the NDA and the BJP in particular support Pranab Mukherjee's candidature?
I think immediately after the announcement of the UPA, Mr. Prime Minister called up Sushma Swaraj ji about the decision and asked for their support. And across the board, there is a great regard and respect for the personality of Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, even among the Indians.
That goes without doubt. But the BJP or the NDA might be looking for something in return. Would you be prepared to support an NDA nominee for Vice President in return for NDA support for Pranab Mukherjee as President?
To me, it looks unlikely.
Unlikely? Why?
Because we already have the numbers.
But you may not have the numbers for the vice president.
That is something which the UPA leadership, the Congress party leadership will have to take a view.
But you're saying to me that you, Digvijaya Singh, believe it is unlikely that there could be an arrangement whereby UPA supports an NDA vice president in return for NDA supporting the UPA candidate for president.
To me, it looks unlikely.
There is speculation in the papers that Congress might offer a second term as vice president to Hamid Ansari. Is that likely?
Well, I think it's not a bad idea. Mr. Ansari has conducted himself admirably as a vice president.
So you think he is deserving of a second term?
I've said it's not a bad idea.
Is this your own personal opinion?
It's my own personal opinion.
But have you canvassed it with Sonia Gandhi, with the Prime Minister?
The discussion for vice president candidature has not even started.
But when that discussion starts, will you then raise this as a formal proposal from your side?
Well, it all depends on whether I'm asked for. I'm asked about my views.
But if asked...
And also at the same time, I have not really done the mathematics as far as the numbers go.
But nonetheless, you think it is a good idea?
It's a good idea indeed.
Now, one of the problems you face is replacing Pranab Mukherjee when he leaves the government, and he's said to be resigning on the 24th of June. You need both a new finance minister and a leader of the House. How easy or difficult will it be to replace a man who's been the linchpin of your government?
There's no doubt that we have very few people of his stature and his ability. And by the same time, Honorable Prime Minister does have people who can fit into the role of a good finance minister and also as a leader of the party in Lok Sabha.
But what about the fact that Pranab Mukherjee, over the last 8 years that UPA has been in government, has been head of some 83 or 84 groups of ministers?
Yes.
He's been involved in the very running of this government, not just in the two big portfolios that he held. How will you fill the vacuum he leaves behind there?
Well, it may be a little difficult, but then someone has to fit into the vacuum created, and therefore I think there is no dearth of talent as far as Congress party or the UPA partners are concerned.
But there could be a few choppy days ahead as the new person feels his way and learns the job.
Well, yes, but we have experience with people who
But you began by saying yes.
Yes, it may be, but at the same time we have very competent and experienced people in our party.
One last question. The new finance minister is going to be appointed at a time when you have falling growth, when investors internationally and domestically are concerned, when the Economist on its front page has said India in trouble, and the inside article says farewell incredible India. Would you accept that whoever becomes the new finance minister must be reassuring to investors both at home and abroad?
Don't forget, it was Dr. Manmohan Singh who led the recovery in 91.
You said something very important. In 91, when there was a crisis, Narasimha Rao brought an outsider in. That was Manmohan Singh. Today we have another perceived crisis. Would Congress party accept an outsider as finance minister like, say, Monte Ahluwalia if the PM wanted him?
Well, it is for the Prime Minister to decide. But at the same time, I think when we have Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister who had led the recovery in 91, why should anyone worry?
Except that now he's Prime Minister and he has more responsibilities. So if he wants someone like Monte Ahluwalia, will Congress accept?
Well, as far as Prime Minister is concerned, he has every right to appoint anyone from outside also.
That, I think, is a very clear answer. Every right to appoint anyone from outside also. You're saying yes?
Yes.
Vijay Singh, a pleasure talking to you.